So the question is the difference between a bija mantra and a mantra, the Maha mantra. So different traditions understand the Maha mantra differently. In our tradition, the mantra, Maha mantra was the Hare Krishna, Hare Ram mantra. You know, a bija mantra is a seed mantra. So, for example, each chakra has its own seed. We talk about how chakras have a different number of petals, and each of these petals represent a particular sound or particular power or shakti of that particular chakra. Bija means the root, the core, the center, the essence of it. So if I say, repeat the bija mantra of the heart, the bija mantra, the seed mantra is the sound yam. Now there are other mantras associated, other sounds associated with the different petals of the chakra, but the bija is the core, the center of it. So for example, if I were going to do a chakra meditation, which we will do at some point, the bija mantra for the Muladhara chakra at the base of the spine is the sound lam, lam. The bija mantra at the second chakra is the sound vam, vam. The bija mantra of the Manipura chakra is ram, ram. The Anahata chakra is yam, yam. Here at the Swadhisthana it's hum, hum. The bija mantra here is the sound om. It's said in the ancient scriptures that these bija mantras are the sound vibration that takes the pure energy of Shakti, of universal consciousness, and gives it a particular form. So we know that all material things have their basis in energy. And energy is in movement and has a particular sound. So if we wanted, for example, to create earth, by repeating the bija mantra, the seed mantra, properly at the level of pasyanti, at a very subtle level, we could bring that into manifestation. We could repeat the bija mantra for water and create water. There are actually ancient stories that talk about how wars in the ancient times were not fought between soldiers, but between sages. One sage would repeat the astra, the mantra, the bija mantra for fire, and repeat that mantra and shower the enemy with fire. And they would have on the other side a sage that would be able to repeat the mantra for water and extinguish the fire. So these bija mantras are the actual vibration of the thing itself. Everything is made up of energy. So the bija, the sound mantra that brings that into creation, is the bija mantra. Maha mantras are used to realize the self. You know, and there are different traditions, they term it differently. In our tradition, we use the mantra Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So we can, in meditation, use any sound that we want. As I mentioned at the centering prayer of the Catholic tradition, says use any word, any sound as a centering technique to quiet the mind. Dr. Benson used the word one. So using a word can quiet the mind and allow us to enter into the consciousness of our own self. So there's a value in making the mind one-pointed. Beyond that, there are different levels of meditation. So if we use a sacred word, a mantra that's Chaitanya, that's alive, a mantra that's been used by a realized being, or we use a mantra that's said to be the sound vibration of of the Supreme Self, the mantra can act as a honing device to tune us in to that frequency. So I would say there are sort of different levels of meditation. So the beginning level would be just quieting the mind and having an experience of our own inner reality, our inner world. But later we have a sort of a different purpose, to go beyond the mind to a higher level, to supreme consciousness. And it's thought that these mantras, sacred mantras, are the sound body of the Supreme Being. So coming into manifestation, the Supreme Being manifests itself in certain sounds and certain vibrations. And if we can repeat those, it can take us back to the source. So we could think of something like, let's say, Om, Om, as the sound body of God, as the means that the Supreme used to create this reality, to manifest the external world. So we can take that same sound and follow it back to its source. That's the idea of using a mantra. The mind becomes quiet and we become absorbed in the source of our own being. Now in the Shiva Sutras, ancient scripture dating back to the 8th, 9th century, it says that the supreme mantra, the Maha Mantra, is the awareness of supreme consciousness of itself. It's not a particular mantra like Om Namah Shivaya or Hare Ram, but it's supreme consciousness being aware of itself. So that movement of awareness. Shaivism says that there is two aspects to supreme consciousness. There's what we call prakasha, the light of being itself. And there's also something called vimarsha, which is the awareness of that being. So for example, this light, you could say that's prakasha, but it's not aware that it's a light. So the supreme consciousness exists. Sat, it's Sat, it's eternal, it's the same in all places, in all things. But it's also Chit, it's aware of its own being. So that awareness is a subtle movement, as it were. It's not really a movement in space, it's simply a vibration. And that vibration, which can also be called spanda, a throb of awareness. That's the ultimate mantra, the real mantra, the Maha Mantra, is when we enter into the awareness of pure consciousness, that movement. And it's that movement of energy, that spanda, that begins to contract and take the form of human thought. So later we're going to do a meditation on Hamsa. Hamsa is the sound, a vibration of the breath, and it can bring us back into the awareness of the pure I am. And that's the true mantra, the Maha Mantra. Let me say a few words about the sacred syllable Om. Many of us pronounce it as Om, thinking it's O-M. In Sanskrit, it's actually made of 3 letters, A, U, Ma. And then there's a pause afterwards, which is a very important part of it. And A represents the physical body, U, the subtle body, M, the causal body, and the supracausal body of the self is only experienced in the silence. So it's said that the word Om, Aum, within that it consists of all of the 50 letters of the Sanskrit alphabet. So think about this, the way you pronounce Om, you begin with your mouth open, wide open, Ah, and gradually you close the mouth, Ooh, Aum. So within that movement are contained all of the 50 sounds, and these are the fundamental bija sounds that create the universe. So earth and water are different combinations of these primal of primal sounds. Back in the 20th century, Bell Lab had created this great system to record sounds from outer space. They were looking for some kind of communication with extraterrestrial beings, and they detected a vibration that emanated from every particle of the universe. They said that it was the echo, reverberation from the moment of creation that vibrates in every particle of the universe. And this vibration is the primal sound of Om. It confirms what the sages have told us for thousands of years, that the sound of Om is the primal vibration from which everything is created, and it continues to vibrate. At a subatomic level, there's this vibration that consists. Someone was telling me that they experienced the sound of Om vibrating from the parts of the body, and this would be perfectly consistent. Think about, we have a physical body, we have a subtle body, we have a causal body, and that's made up of energy. And the movement of that energy is symbolized, designated by the sound of Om. So let me talk about the use of mantra from different levels of spiritual practice. So we think of Anuvupaya, Shaktopaya, Shambhavupaya as three different perspectives or three different levels of doing sadhana. So Anuvupaya is the basic level. It begins, and these are the practices that are most beneficial for most people. It has to do with using the physical world and our physical bodies as means of practicing sadhana. So this would be things like chanting mantras out loud, kirtan, doing hatha yoga practices, doing our various yajnas and havans, and going to church, making yatras and pilgrimages, anything that has to do with the external world. And this level of sadhana, this level of practice, begins with the belief or the perspective that I am me and the universe is separate. There's me and there's a supreme being. It's a dualistic perspective. So I'm doing spiritual practice to earn grace, to earn a benefit, so that one day I can be with the supreme being. This is the dualistic perspective, and it's an important one. Prayer to an external being is an Anuvupaya practice. As we do our sadhana and we're exposed to the teachings, the non-dual teachings, we come into an awareness that there's a possibility of entering into a perfect union with supreme consciousness. We have knowledge of that. It's not our experience, but we're told, Tattvamasi, thou art that God dwells within you as you and you. Oh, that's a good idea. It's not my experience, but that's what the scriptures tell us, that's what the sages tell us. So this level of practice we call Shaktopaya, where we begin to train the mind to no longer see duality, to begin practices that help us to recognize that we're already whole, we're already perfect, we're already divine. So bringing it back to the use of mantra, at the dualistic level, we're praying. We're chanting out loud to a deity. Here, we're chanting with the awareness that this practice of mantra can somehow train the mind to recognize its essential unity with all that is. So here, we have gone beyond the level of physical practice. We're now using mental practices. We're studying scripture and training our mind to see the world in a different way, to somehow train our perspective, to have positive thoughts rather than tearing thoughts, rather than negative thoughts. We become aware of our inner world and how that inner world shapes our reality. And we begin to train the mind to think positively, to think, I'm whole, I'm perfect. It may not yet be our experience, but we're using our mind to shift our belief system from a world where we're the victim and everything is separate from us, beginning to practice mentally that all of this is consciousness, that we create our reality. We're no longer victims of the world where things happen to me, but now I can use my mind to create the reality that I want to live. So here we begin to repeat the mantra with the awareness that the mantra, the divinity of the mantra, the supreme consciousness, and my own self are one. We repeat that with that awareness. So this is the level of Shaktopaya, where we believe that we're one with all that is, but it's not quite our experience yet. When through practice and through grace, we are lifted naturally and spontaneous into the awareness that I am that. I'm universal consciousness. We call this Shambhavupaya. This is the path of Shiva, the path of self-realization, where through grace, through practice, we have that, we enter into that awareness. And in that state, the practice is to begin exercising our very subtle faculties, beyond even the level of mind, the divine faculties, to hold on to that experience, to notice where thoughts arise from, and make a choice to not engage in the thoughts, to not let them arise, where we simply remain in divine consciousness. Once this state, once this experience becomes our permanent state of awareness, it becomes our stage of awareness, this is Anupaya. There's no path required. We simply live in the awareness that I and the Supreme Being are one. And it's languaged variously. Aham, Brahmasmi, Shivoham, I am that. So you can see how mantra has different stages, different ways that we can practice it. The ultimate awareness is, I am that. That's the true Maha Mantra. It's not a word, not in language, it's simply the awareness, I'm that. So think about, we can relate these 4 levels of reality to the 4 bodies, to the 4 levels of speech. So the highest level would be the pure awareness that I am that, without even words, just an awareness. And you may have experienced this in your own meditation, where you're just there. You're aware that you're there, but you're not thinking. You're not thinking, I'm there. You're simply in that consciousness, right? And there are, all 4 of these levels are consistent with the use of the mantra and awareness. So the 4 bodies, the 4 levels of sound, right? All consistent. So these 4 levels of sound are interconnected, and they sort of blend into each other automatically. They don't require effort. So for example, I'm chanting, I'm in kirtan, and I'm chanting the mantra, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, when suddenly I'm elevated to another awareness, where I'm chanting the mantra internally, and I'm having an experience of the divinity that's fully present, the divinity around me, the divinity within me. And there even can come a point in chanting of the mantra where we're catapulted into that awareness that I am that, I am that. I've had this experience in my own self, where through doing a basic Anuvupaya, I move into Shaktopaya, and then stay in that awareness that I am that. And that's the purpose of these particular practices. So it's not that we have to always do Shambhavopaya practices, the highest practices, or we even have to do Shaktopaya. These blend seamlessly together. One leads to the next. I'll give you an example. I like to go to havans. People often invite me to come to various yajnas, fire rituals, and these can be done from a dualistic perspective. I'm offering the libation into the fire in the hopes of pleasing a deity or maybe receiving grace. But I can also do it from a Shaktopaya level. You know, as I'm offering the libation, the fruit, the grain to the fire, in my consciousness, I'm the one who's experiencing that. So as I'm offering, I'm aware of my own being. And my mind becomes the offering. And it's actually the altar of the offering. And the thoughts that I'm holding in mind are the actual offerings. To whom? To my own self. To my own self. So as I go to these fire ceremonies, I do the physical offerings, but these are symbols of a process that I'm recognizing in the moment, that I am the one. So if I offer beautiful flowers, who is it that experiences the beauty of those flowers but me? The fragrance, the incense, the things that are burned. It's the self within me that's actually experiencing that. And this can lead to the highest state where by pleasing the senses in this offering, I'm pleasing my own inner consciousness, where I can recognize who is it that's witnessing this? Who is it that's experiencing all this? I watch my physical body make the offering. I watch my mind making its offering. And then I'm lifted into the awareness of the inner witness, the inner experiencer as pure consciousness. I am that. So even Anuvapaya practices using the body can lead to the direct experience that I am that.